Hello there. I don't know why I thought that was a good way to open this video. Look at my hair. What is this? What is this, like, spaniel ears thing I've got going on? Anyway, hello, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to some more Hannibal. Last time on Hannibal, we got very gothic, very creepy. We had a castle to explore, Hannibal's past, why he might be the way he is, but without revealing anything explicit, like just enough to maybe paint some sort of a picture for both us and for Will to maybe piece some puzzle pieces. If all of that contributes to whatever Will does going forward from here, don't know. But Hannibal seemed to come to the conclusion of, if I'm ever going to be able to forgive him, I have to eat him. Which, yeah, you know, Hannibal does that. Hannibal eats people, but now he's eating someone because he loves them and wants to forgive them, which is, it's just different, because previously we'd been sort of told he eats those who he considers less than human, less than him. And now it's about he has to consume what he loves because that's the only way he can understand it, or something along those lines. I'm probably just talking bullshit. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff happened last episode about these characters and where they're going from this point. The main point is that we have a direction that the show is currently going, and also Jack is in town and he's here for Will. We're not entirely sure what his purpose is, what he wants Will for, what he wants Hannibal for, if he's interested in Hannibal at all. He seemed to be like, hey, this ain't my house, this isn't my job, I'm just here for my guy. And I guess we might get an idea of what that's all about this time, maybe, or we're gonna have something completely different happen. Who knows? I'm excited. Are you excited? I think we all are. I'm ready to jump into this next episode. But before we do, please remember to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy the reaction and the review that happens afterwards. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos, and help support the channel. It's a nice thing to do, maybe, if you're that way inclined, maybe. And if you want to see more of my stuff, there are links to Twitch down below. There's a link to the Discord channel down below. We're just trying to build up the community there, and it's fun. It's a fun time. It seems to be going nicely. And yeah, I'd like to see more of you over there if you would be interested. I don't know why I'm talking like a robot. Let's do this. Let's jump into this next episode, see what happens. I'm sure there'll be more family-friendly stuff, and there won't be any murders or gory stuff or trippy imagery. I'm sure it's just going to be a happy time. It's going to be Teletubbies. That's what it's going to be. Anyway, let's do this episode. Hannibal. Oh shit, we're cutting to this. Did he survive? Because I reckon he did. You know, it just kind of went through his cheek, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep, just like that. Ew, and his eyeball. His eyeball didn't go well for him either.
The dead at least have the luxury of being done with what they lost.
Man, he keeps getting the worst punishment and walking away from it. Oh shit, and he's here.
You show me yours, and I'll show you mine.
I was gonna say, he looks pretty good for a man who got shot in the face and the back of his head exploded. Oh, he's got like a glazed over eye. Hey, I own it, man. You look like a fucking Bond villain. God, is this gonna be like the team up of the century? Oof. Oof, Chilton.
Now we can talk face to face.
Blimey.
I want to understand Hannibal Lecter to better understand myself.
You survived him.
Survived him? That implies fortune or skill on my part that somehow allowed me to live. This is exactly how he intended me to live.
Yeah, he's not wrong. This is exactly what Hannibal wanted for him.
What would happen if Hannibal Lecter was in your hands? Happy hunting.
Man, is this going to be like the anti-Hannibal and Will?
You're well enough for a visitor?
When he thought he saw Abigail? Who really walked in? Did someone else walk in? Oh my god.
I can help you get Hannibal Lecter out of your head.
And into your hospital.
We can catch the man who framed and maimed us. This is your best possible world, Will. Not getting a better one.
Okay. So Chilton is on the hunt. Everyone's on the hunt for Hannibal. Everyone wants their slice of that pie. Basically, it's what's going on. He's left too many people alive and it's going to come back to haunt him. But maybe it was all part of a bigger plan. What the fuck is happening here? What on God's earth am I watching? Is he just imagining what could have been? Is that what's going on? Maybe trying to imagine what that better world. We're definitely hitting our quota for hallucination, trippy imagery. What does it all mean?
You told him we knew. I told him to leave. So I wanted him to run. Because he was my friend.
Friend, huh?
And because I wanted to run away with him.
That's pause for concern from Jack. Am I going to keep an eye on you, Will? Well, she breathes.
What I said before, I will say again. Which is something you cannot say.
Fucking Chilton's doing the rounds, man.
There's only one we you're really interested in, Frederick. And that we isn't really interested in you.
Will has not had his breakthrough yet. He is saving that for Dr. Lecter.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong about that.
It's only a matter of time before they are back in each other's orbit.
I thought he was going to say in each other's arms there for a minute.
You were so afraid of me. The last time I saw you.
That's creepy.
What are you doing here?
Visiting old friends.
Well, this is concerning behavior.
Friendship with Hannibal is blackmail, elevated to the level of love.
Interesting way of putting that.
Can you still ignore the worst in him?
I came here to be alone, Alana.
Not answering that question. That inner conflict in Will of like the good guy who knows damn well Hannibal is not good. Not a good person at all. But the wanting for that friendship was someone who has a similar brain to him, I guess, or way of viewing the world.
I'm Dr. Blue. You're the new psychiatrist.
Oh, God. Here we go. Here we go. I do wonder what Margot, like where Margot falls into all this now.
Dr. Lecter got deeper inside you than he did any of us.
Starts gagging.
I have forgiven Dr. Lecter as our Savior forgave the Roman soldiers.
I don't need religion to appreciate the idea of Old Testament revenge.
Everyone's out for revenge. Why do I feel like I just don't trust anyone anymore? Like, is everyone just becoming evil in their own way? Warped, obsessed, all of those words.
You're not going into the ground with me, Jack. So stop trying. I'm not afraid of what it will be like to be dead. I'm more curious.
Is that curious word again? All about that curiosity.
Terrorists are more frightening than psychopaths.
Not to me.
Really. The first thing you did after getting shot in the face was copyright Hannibal the Cannibal.
Of course he did. Of course he did. What a fucking Chilton move.
Will Graham is alive because Hannibal Lecter likes him that way.
Maybe it's one of those friendships that ends after the disemboweling.
I would argue with these two. That's tantamount to flirtation. Will is going to...
Chilton gets it. Chilton gets it. So interesting that this episode is really framed around Chilton visiting all of our characters. Blimey. Alright. Getting real today as well. Jeez Louise. Oh my god. Sweet Jesus, no he didn't. No he did not. He didn't do this. Even though there's Dracula music playing right now. Gillian Anderson said, "You're pulling them all towards you, and this would be the way to get Jack in that net."
I'm so sorry about Bella, Jack.
We get to see what else was written in that letter. But I do think, I've always said this, I do think Hannibal genuinely did like Bella. Despite his curiosity tendencies and didn't mind, you know, fucking Jack over and her over, but...
I was there when her heart stopped. And I held on to her till her brain died. I know what's coming for you, Will. You don't have to die on me, too.
Why would you give him the letter? Why would you do this? What does it say? Tell me what it says. God damn it. I just want to know what else it said.
I would like you to begin arrangements for Dr. Hannibal Lecter to be eaten alive.
Do you have a preference for how you would like him prepared?
Oh my god. Should have seen this coming, I guess. I mean, I assumed that the guy would want revenge, and I guess, I don't know, for some reason, whoever Hannibal touches, the cannibalism just rises up from within them.
Europe is where a man of his tastes would settle. Taste in all things will be a constant between Dr. Lecter's lives.
He's that fancy shit.
I have no idea how Dr. Lecter genuinely feels about me. Last time we spoke, he promised he'd kill me.
The delivery on that was amazing.
I'm curious, Dr. Boone. How I have found you in my pocket.
It is interesting that this has happened. I thought it was going to be Chilton and him, but no. It turns out to be Alana and Verger.
You're preparing the theater of Hannibal's death. Just doing my part to get him to the stage.
I guess it makes sense that she would want him dead. Gone. Buried. Like, nope. He manipulated me, played me like a fiddle.
Where's Will?
He's already gone, Jack. Will knows what he has to do. Do you?
Fucking Jack, man. He just comes across as a man who's like, why has this happened to me? Fucking Will sail all the way there. Jesus. Okay, well that's the episode. Gee, this was a doozy. This episode. So I've been saying for the last few episodes now, I was wondering if we were going to get an episode kind of dedicated to the other side of the coin of all of this, like, fallout of what had happened at the end of the last season, and here we are. We got it. I just had to look up because I couldn't remember if it was Mason or Grayson, and I don't know why I've got those two names, but Verger in my head, but I was also just saw that it was a different actor playing him in this season. I did think for a moment, why does he look like, I mean, obviously the face thing is going on, so I don't know. It's just interesting. Just interesting. Apparently a different actor playing the role this time around. So there seem to be a couple of big themes playing into this episode. One being just like how the fallout, but more specifically how the victims of Hannibal, the people who he has touched in such a severe way, how they have changed, where their motivations are going. Are they able to accept life now that they survived him, or are they stuck by it? But also the theme of willing to let go of something. Like, we had this sort of parallel between Jack letting go of his wife Bella in this episode, and also the parallel of that with everyone being able to let go of Hannibal. Are they able to just, you know, we survived this, we could just go about our lives, never have to think about him again. Jack tried to just look after his wife in her final days, but when she passed, it was like, am I really going to be able to let this go? And then Hannibal comes in with the letter, like, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your loss, Jack. Oh my god, I can believe it, but I can't believe it all at once. But yeah, I just thought those were interesting themes that this episode was playing with, just to give you a better understanding of, I'm guessing, where the rest of the season's going to go as these characters sort of become more involved with Hannibal directly again. When the episode opened, I did think, are we going to be getting like an anti-reverse Will Hannibal's situation between Verger and Chilton. It seems to be more the case that it's Alana and Verger who are sort of filling that role. The Chilton thing was a bit of a misdirect because the whole episode was just sort of framed around Chilton going to visit everyone who has survived Hannibal in some way, and that was an interesting way of doing it. One, to confirm that obviously Chilton was still alive, and he seems very much bent on the idea of manipulating everyone so he can get hold of Hannibal, but I don't know. I don't think he's up to it, honestly. I think that's going to backfire horribly if that if that comes to fruition. But he's certainly trying to manipulate events for whatever his own ends end up being by the end of this. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting choice to have him as the kind of through line as we got reintroduced to characters sort of directly after the events. I will say though, at this juncture, it did feel a little bit weird to have this episode as episode 4. Maybe it will make more sense depending what happens on episode 5. But I don't know, this feels like this should have been episode 2 in a weird kind of way. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I just feel like it's weird placement. But like I say, I'll reserve judgment until the next episode because maybe it'll make more sense then as to why they did it this way. I think it's just the fact that after last week's episode, the ball was rolling in a particular direction and it was like, oh, what's going to happen with this? Where's this going to happen? And now we're just cutting back weeks ago and going through it. Like, it seemed like a kind of long period of time, enough period of time for Alana to heal and be able to start walking, enough period of time for Verger to have his face sort of reconstructed. Like, there's a lot of time jumping going on in this episode, and this is like a personal thing for me. I'm not a big fan of the whole like sometime later, like that trope in movies and TVs and jumping around in time like that. I don't know why that irks me. It didn't bother me too much here, but it did sort of, I don't know, it just knocked the pacing a little bit for me that we were kind of jumping around and sort of seeing things unfold under a period of time, and I was all the while just kind of thinking, this is all well and good, but we were really going somewhere last time and I kind of want to see what's going on there, and I don't know. Again, I will reiterate, there's maybe a purpose to why they decided to do it this way, and I will hold my breath until I see what happens next and see where it all goes. But also, this episode just gave us a lot. There was a lot of just character sort of exposition, like where are they, what are they doing, what are they thinking, what are they feeling, and there was just a lot to take in. But let's just quickly go through it and make sure I'm going in the right direction with everything going forward. So I've already talked about this, but Jack sort of going into a sort of retirement, mainly so he could probably spend more time with his wife in her last days, and that was kind of where he was going. Like, he was trying his best to let go of Hannibal, to let go of Will, just focus on what was important to him, and then he gets that bombshell of a letter like, this motherfucker, I have to get dragged back into this. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jack is indeed, like, if he wants his slice of the revenge pie on Hannibal, or if his focus is, like we saw last episode, purely on Will and whatever that entails and where that's going to go. Alana helping Verger, it makes sense. Like, emotionally, it makes sense. Like, I felt like last season that she was played for a fool to the point where it almost annoyed me. So I can get why she would be annoyed about it and why she's like, I want him dead. I want this man dead, out of the picture, and I'm willing to go to this guy who I can't stand to make that happen. So I get it. It tracks. I do wonder what her feelings towards Will are at this point. She seems to be pretty on board with, I don't know, just kind of using Will if it means it will get Hannibal back into the trap, as it were. So I don't know. Guess we'll have to wait and see where that's going to go. But I don't know. She's definitely playing it cold, it seems, at this moment, and I get it. I get where she's at. We also got a little bit more about Will here, about the choices he made, his regret about the choices he made. Should he have just ran away with Hannibal because he wanted to? Conflict in him is about, well, Hannibal is the bad guy and I should probably not side with the bad guy. But it was interesting getting a visual representation of that conflict in his head about what would have happened if I just had killed Jack with Hannibal and we ran away together, or, you know, all of that stuff. It was interesting getting a visual interpretation of all of that going on. And then just him and Alana talking, him having this moment of, I miss my friend, basically. It was just him having a moment of, he was my friend and I miss him. And maybe it was more than friendship. I don't really know. I didn't really get the chance to find out. And here I am, sat here. And obviously that starts him on his journey to where we have seen him in the previous episodes and where that's all going. Verger has found religion or some sort of obsession with Old Testament revenge. And that's what he wants. He wants to eat Hannibal, and it's, you know, it's come back round to, when is this going to happen to you, Hannibal? Someone's going to try and eat you. And I should have guessed it would be Verger, honestly. I didn't really account for him. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't, because it's the most obvious option of, well, who wants revenge against Hannibal, and who would want it to be bloody, painful, and, you know, just spiteful. And yeah, it would be Verger. And for some reason, I just didn't think of that. And then obviously, as we said earlier, Chilton is doing his best to manipulate things to get what he wants out of this. However, there is an elephant in the room with all this, is that we heard it last time, Hannibal is purposely drawing all these people to him. He clearly has an idea of what he wants to achieve with that. I was kind of thinking during this episode, man, this is a lot of people to have survived Hannibal. But yeah, I do feel like Hannibal has a grand plan. He's setting up the pieces for what he wants to do. But it's that weird thing where sometimes Hannibal just reacts to things. He just does stuff out of curiosity. He just wants to see what will happen, and it'll bring him joy or pleasure in some way. And then there are other times where it feels like, no, he's setting up his chess pieces to make a move. And I really don't know what his move is here, because if he just wanted to kill these people, he could have killed them. Like, I mean, there is a debate as to whether Jack just survived through good fortune, because they said it here in the episode, like, hey, you lived because you left that thing in your neck and didn't pull it out. Will lived because Hannibal wanted him to live, and that's how he likes it. So, you know, there's some debate as to maybe Jack's fate. The major things that stick with me in this episode is that previously we had, hey, Hannibal, you're bringing them all into you. That's what you're doing. I can see what you're doing. You're trying to bring them all to you, and clearly that signals intent. Like, he's got a plan for why he would want to do that, and vice versa on the other side of that, what it is that is drawing them all in. What from their point of views, what is it that is drawing them in? They've all got their own motivations. Some it's revenge, some it's curiosity, some it's love, for lack of a better term. Like, it's all of these different things that the show is juggling right now. And there's a lot of major players, and they're all converging on this one man who has touched them in some dark ways, and yet they've all become, in their own way, a bit obsessed with him. I am fascinated to see how the show's going to handle, like, the climax of that. Who is going to get what out of it? You know, who's going to get some form of closure, revenge, or if it's all going to backfire, and who's going to die, who's not going to die. Like, there's a plethora of options as to what could happen when this, like, trap for Hannibal is sprung. We're going to have Hannibal coming face to face with pretty much all these people in some fashion. So I don't know. I'm fascinated to see how that's going to play out. I will say this episode, I did feel myself fumbling through it a little bit, just because there was so much going on. Like, it felt like this episode had a lot to do within like 40 minutes. Like, there was so many characters to meet, so many characters to understand where they're at, like, mentally, what their motivations are, and there was a lot going on, and I definitely felt that jarringness, and I also definitely feel like I probably have missed something in there, because there was just a lot going on. It was certainly interesting, and I kind of liked how they framed it through, like, Chilton doing the rounds, like, you know, almost like a doctor going around visiting all the patients. Kind of kept it as straight as it possibly could be with the amount of information it was trying to give me. Like, I think it was probably the best possible way to deliver the amount of information and story that they needed to do in a short space of time, and make it as clear as it possibly could be, with obviously that Hannibal ambiguity that I've come accustomed to. And it certainly has, like, set me up for what could happen next. I assume we're going to be heading for, you know, our mid-season sort of twist soon, either next episode or the episode after, I'm guessing. So I'm sure this will play into all that, and it will click into gear, and I'll be like, now this all makes sense. You couldn't have done this without this episode happening, so there we are. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Still enjoying it. I just feel like my brain was like, okay, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. It's okay. It's okay though. I'm still here for it. I look forward to seeing how this is going to work. Who's it going to backfire on? Who's going to get royally fucked? Because someone isn't going to have a good time. I enjoyed it. There's stuff here that I did like seeing, and I can't wait for more to see what happens next. See you there. I don't really know how to end this one because my brain is just going, bah! Thank you for watching this one, guys. If you enjoyed it, please press the thumbs up button. Helps me know you liked it. Helps it get seen by more people. Also, consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. There's also links to Twitch and Discord down below. Go check those out. But that's everything. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.